Credit where credit's due. We put up a decent fight, gave it our all. Sometimes you just come up against caliber you can't quite stand. And I gotta say, Darren England might be the best referee Man City's ever had. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Blues and Stripes. So yeah, some fans are going to call me bitter. That's perfectly fine. I don't care. This is my channel. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. That is probably the worst refereeing performance since the Barcelona match. Like, some people might point out Anthony Taylor, and yeah, he's had some more, big game-changing moments. But as far as one-sided refereeing performances go, this is probably one of the worst. And you got both of the penalty shouts, which, to be fair, I'll give 1.5. 1.5 of those should be a penalty. Because the one on Hato in the second half, 100% a penalty. I mean, he gets in front of Kusanov, who then throws his elbow into his back, shoves him over. That's always a foul, everywhere on the pitch, except for today. Not today for Chelsea. The one on João Pedro in the first half, it could be a penalty. Honestly, it's obstruction. But that rule apparently just doesn't even matter anymore, because you never see it called. But that's legitimately what obstruction is. He steps across João Pedro, not trying to play the ball. It's not within touching distance, and he just steps into his path and blocks him off. That's obstruction. Some people will say it's a foul because, yeah, he does sort of throw his shoulder into him as well. But at the very least, something. But the referee said, no, not today, not for Chelsea. You got all the yellow cards that were given. Cucurella's is deserved. Enzo's, he gets the ball. Yeah, he sort of comes through him a little bit, but he gets the ball. And what makes it even worse is in the second half, Bernardo Silva goes through the back of James, takes him out, and it's not even a yellow. He gives a little advantage a couple of seconds after the play continues, as if, oh yeah, by the way, that was a foul. And that's all of the fouls that Chelsea got today. It was a couple of seconds after. Every single time a Man City player hits the deck, it whistles instantly in his mouth, foul for City. When a Chelsea player hits the floor, it took a couple of seconds, like he didn't want to, but he's like, yeah, I guess that's a foul. It was so bad today. That Hato decision, that changes the game. Again, I'll be fair for the João Pedro one, but the Hato one 100% is a penalty. And the fact that that's not given, and VAR also, Peter Banks up there just sitting on his thumbs, I suppose, it's embarrassing. And credit to City, they played well, but I thought we were the better team for probably about the middle 45 minutes. I thought we were the better team. We were creating the better chances. We gave them a game today. And it was a moment of brilliance that scored them the goal, but we should have had at least a penalty. But anyways, moving on from the joke of referees, let's talk about us a little bit. As far as the lineup, it is what it is. Like I said in the preview, I didn't want to see Gusto. I expected to see Gusto, though, because for some reason, he's just undroppable. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about him that coaches look at him and go, that's the guy I want. I would have preferred Chalobah over Fofana. But you know what? Chalobah didn't have a great game against Forest. Fofana and Colwill make a decent partnership from what we remember in the past. So maybe that's the thinking. I would prefer to see James at right back because he's not really a midfielder, but you know what? He does okay in there. He holds his own. But what I don't understand is with the subs. Because after the goal goes in, that's when you need to change things up. And instead, what we do, we put Neto on for Cucurella, which is basically a like for like. Yes, Neto is more of a right wing, but he comes on, becomes the left wing, where Cucurella was kind of the left wing back. So all that really changes is now we have a wing instead of a wing back on the left side, which doesn't really help us going forward. Next up is Delap on for James. Why? What is Delap going to bring? What is he going to give you? And why James of all people? James is the one who could probably send in the best crosses. You know who's not? Is the guy who's at right back. Wasted one of our last chances, wasted several. I'll get to him in a second. But why James? It pushes Enzo further back as well, because João Pedro drops in. So now Enzo, who created some of our better chances in the second half as well, now he's further back. Now he's being relied on to be defensive. And then Garnacho comes on for João Pedro, which I know he was feeling something when he came off. So I know that's part of why he came off. But at that point, we've seen this story before. We've seen Garnacho and Delap come on before, and then we don't do anything for the rest of the match. That's what happened here. Outside of one moment where a cross comes in from Gusto, the last person I want crossing it, to Delap, the last person I want heading it, and what do you know? It's not a great cross. Delap has to come back to it, and then he heads it way over. It's just all around awful. We didn't create anything after that, the last sub. I'm not going to blame McFarland too much. He's a rookie, so I don't expect him to make the best subs ever. But yeah, those subs were not good enough. If anything, it should have been Neto on for Gusto maybe, and have him be the right wing back, and he could start providing some width and some pace down that right-hand side. So that was the biggest frustration for me today, is I felt like those subs were just atrocious. But getting into individuals, Sanchez, thought it was kind of funny because everybody was calling him Sanchek earlier this season. But nothing really too much from him. Made one good save in the second half from Cherky. The goal, there's not much he can do on it. It was a very clever flick to the back post, so I can't really blame him for that. There were a couple of times whenever he was a little sloppy when it comes to his distribution, when it comes to just holding it. But for the most part, he was fine today. But yeah, go ahead and just get Gusto out of the way. I don't understand why he's playing in this match. I don't know what he's done recently to deserve a start in the FA Cup final. I know he's a right wing back, so if you want to go with his back three, he's the one that fits that position more naturally, but surely you can go with a Neto. Or have your back five be where the right back doesn't get up and down and just have James be back there. And then they all can shift into a back four with Hato on the left, James on the right. There's no reason Gusto should be here. And while he didn't do anything awful defensively today, there was one moment when he was completely caught out because Fofana gave away the ball, and it leads to a chance, but not until like 15, 20 seconds later. Plenty of time for Gusto to get back from the run he made up the pitch. And he's just getting back as they're slipping in 10 seconds later to O'Reilly. But he did hold Doku for most of the match, didn't give him too much, but on the ball, awful today. Every time the ball went out to him, whenever we were kind of looking like we were going to counter, all I could think is, well, counter's done, attack is done, because as soon as it goes to him, stands on it, passes it back. I would guarantee 90% of the time that's exactly what happened. And then the 10% of the time where he didn't pass it backwards were crosses to nobody, outside of the one to Delap, which again was behind him, and it's Delap. So I don't understand it. I don't understand what it is about Malo Gusto that these coaches just love to see him out there. If anybody can point me to one thing in particular that he's done that justifies him being out there, please let me know. Because as far as I can tell, his biggest highlights recently have been penalties that he's given away, has been crosses to the back post where he's not aware of somebody behind him, or missed headers. Those have been his highlights, and yet he still plays. And again, I'm aware that some of it is down to positions and how they wanted to set up in this match. I still think there are better options, even if it's not the most natural for Neto to be out there. Even if you don't want James making all those bursting runs that a right wing back would, there are still ways to not have to play this guy who's not doing well, who's not playing well. You don't have to play him, and yet you do anyway. Not that he was directly responsible for the goal, but it was still a lot of moments where he's the reason why our attack just dies. But if you want to look at the guy who is directly responsible, Wesley Fofana, I'm not going to harp on him too much because overall he wasn't terrible today, but there were those few moments where that decision making, that's one of my biggest problems with him. The decisions he makes is so bad. And then the build up to the goal, pass comes in, Hato does well, reads it, sticks a foot out, it falls to Haaland in the middle of the pitch. Fofana is right there on him. All you have to do is force him backwards. But instead, Fofana bites at it, which allows Haaland to turn, and then boom, 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 goal. It starts from that one moment of Fofana deciding, I'm going to try to nip in and poke the ball away, and gets himself turned, and that leads to the counter. You can't do that. And as many times as he's been turned doing stuff like that, I mean, it happened a couple other times that didn't lead to a goal in this match in particular, he's got to learn from that. He's got to know by now, you don't go biting in the middle of the pitch, nobody behind you, ton of space, they have numbers ahead. You have to force him backwards. You have to stand behind him and not let him turn. Even if you got to pull him down and take the yellow, you don't let him turn. But he did. And it leads to a goal. And that's the type of stuff when I look at Fofana, as much as he has these moments where he does well, those moments are so big and so problematic, I don't really want him. Outside of the fact that he's had so many injury problems, he's just a liability in defense at times. And I don't trust my defenders whenever they do shit like that. Colwell on the other side, I thought played pretty well. Had some good defensive challenges, good clearances. I just wish he were a bit more of a leader, but I don't think he is. So this is why we need to go get an experienced leader defender back there, like a Thiago Silva, somebody who's going to organize the back line and keep everybody where they're supposed to be. Hato, I thought played pretty well. Had a couple of bad touches near the end, but that just could be his legs going out. Yeah, once again, another game that shows he should have been playing for more of this season. And then maybe we wouldn't have fallen off like we did. Cucurella on the left wing back side, he was kind of up and down today. There were some moments in the attack where I thought he should have done better. Whether it was a bad pass or a mistimed run, there were just several moments whenever his quality let us down on that side, which was pretty disappointing. Defensively, he was okay as well. Sometimes he did well against Semenyo, kind of held him to just a cross. But there were a couple times when he bit a little too easily and got turned for pace. Based on Cucurella's standards, I would say this was a poor match, but that's just because I hold Cucurella to a higher standard, and this was not one of his better games. In the midfield, James and Caicedo, I thought both played pretty well. James once again had those moments whenever on the ball, I don't know why, but he just kind of slows down the tempo in there. And while his passes are typically really good and really well placed, it takes too long to get there sometimes. And whenever we're trying to get down the pitch quickly and it gets to him and he has to take a little touch and look up, I feel like those are the moments whenever you need your midfield to just already be aware of what to do, where to turn, where to pass. And sometimes it feels like he's not quite aware of what he's doing with it when he receives. And some of that might be because he's not a natural midfielder, so he's not used to being in that position. He's not used to having to have his head on a swivel and having to know where he's going to go next. But defensively, I thought they both held their own in there very well. Just like with Caicedo and Santos, I think having James in there allows Caicedo to roam a bit more and track down the ball, which is what he does so well. So that is one thing that pairing did give us. But yeah, on the ball, I thought there were just moments whenever we needed to get the ball moving quicker down the pitch. And any slowdown would typically start from James in the midfield. Palmer, I thought, had a couple of decent moments, but definitely still not the level we need him to be. Like the one run he made into the box where he flicked it around a couple of players, and that last touch that he took that leads to him being blocked off, those are the moments that I feel like right now he's overthinking. Where before, I think he would flick it around the first two, look to have a shot, or maybe slip somebody in. Now it's gets around the first two, picks his head up, the option doesn't seem on, so then he has to go again, and then that extra little bit is where he gives it away. And that's where we need Palmer to return to where he was before, which is not thinking so much. A lot of people called him stupid and all that bullshit. The fact of the matter is, he was just a very simple player. He didn't overthink it, he kept it simple, and that's what made him so good that first season, and parts of second season as well. That's why, again, I do wonder if Maresca coming in and trying to make him a little bit more structured, very rigid in how he plays, now he's overthinking everything he does, and now he looks like less of a player because of it. So whoever we get, whether it's going to be Xabi Alonso or somebody else, we need a manager who's going to come in and get him back to the confident, simple player that we saw before, because we need him to be that player again if we want to possibly push back up for the title next year. Enzo, I thought, played pretty well throughout most of it. I still get frustrated with some of these moments whenever he's a little bit petulant, whether he's calling for a foul, complaining to the referee about something. Sometimes I just want him to get on with the game, and this is part of why I wouldn't mind if he left out of all of our midfielders. I think he's a good player when he's at his best, but we don't need that type of constantly combative, stopping playing just to go complain to the referee or call for a foul. That's what he does most of the time, and it's not a good look. So if he can't cut that out, I wouldn't mind if he left and we got somebody in that's going to focus more on actually playing the game instead of trying to call for everything. And then João Pedro up top, I thought his first half was pretty good. Couple of moments where he's slipping around or bad touches, bad passes, but his work ethic was there. His runs were good. He did have a couple of moments where he moved the ball well. But second half, I think he was starting to get a little frustrated, and you could see he's trying to flop over every time. He's trying to get a foul. But as far as the subs that came in, I mean, none of them really did much of anything. Neto was the most involved. He came in with some good energy and work rate, but didn't really do much in the final third with it. And Garnacho and Delap, nothing. Which, are we surprised by that? So yeah, all in all, I mean, it's frustrating not to win. It's frustrating to lose in a final again. It's frustrating to lose to Man City again. But what I will say is it was a good performance that I think warranted something, if not for the fact that Darren England really likes Pep's shiny head. And you could take a guess which head I'm talking about. But with all that being said, those are my thoughts, so go ahead and cue the outro. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more Chelsea previews, reviews, and talks. Also, let me know what your thoughts are down below, whether you agree, disagree, or just want to call me stupid. Let me know, we can talk about it, discuss all that good stuff. Also, if you want to hear me talk about TV shows and movies that I like, check out my channel Mason the Brock Henderson, where I upload reviews every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As well as if you want to watch me play through video games and try to make it entertaining for you, I have a Let's Play channel, Meso Hendo Plays, where I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also, if you do want to help me grow this channel, I do have a Patreon where all the funds and donations will go directly into improving this channel's quality. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out, and up the Chels.